Peace. What's the word, everybody? Give everybody a chance to tap in with the kid before we start building on the subject matter for the day. Hopefully, y'all having a powerful Monday thus far, man. And got about 40 minutes to chop it up with the kid. It's very important subject matter for the day. I got about 40 good minutes to build with y'all. So, like I said, hopefully, y'all got 40 minutes to spare, man. Tap in to this powerful build. Short yet effective. Okay, Spirit, peace, what's happening? MC, peace, what's the word? Or you already know. You know, we gotta talk about what's important. They've been talking about food shortages for a long time. Ever since I started to come into a lot of this knowledge, I've been coming across food shortages and that being a possibility. So this is nothing is new under the sun. They've been talking about this for a very long time. Crown Heart, peace, what's happening? And this is part of their plan. You know, when you create a food shortage, this falls in alignment with the plan when I talked about they only want to have two classes. You got the rich class and you got the poor class. They're getting rid of the middle class. One of the best ways to do that is to raise the prices. Raise the prices of food. Mr. Barbados, peace, what's happening? Antonio, my brother, peace, what's happening? Goldie, peace. Montel, peace, what's the word? Justin, peace, what's happening? How y'all living? How y'all feeling? So this goes right in alignment with the plan. That's why we starting to see these food prices skyrocket, and it has a lot to do with the situation in Ukraine and Russia. And you know, Joe Biden already he didn't put out the warning. He put out the warning. He tried to warn the people that a food shortage is coming soon. You know, it's a big possibility, and we not hearing that. We not focusing on it. You know, old Joe that everybody was so happy to, you know, put in office, even though he was selected and not elected. But yeah, old Joe came out and warned the people that, hey, it's a possibility of a food shortage coming soon. And we not talking about it. We're not paying that any mind because it's too serious. It's too depressing. We don't want to focus on things like that. We don't want to focus on it. We don't want to tap into that information. And then when this type of stuff catches us off guard, then we wonder why we get did the way that we get did. Because we're not prepared, because we don't want to face the truth. We don't want to face reality. We'll rather get caught up in a bunch of nonsense that's irrelevant and don't matter, instead of the things that actually do matter that will affect us. This is something that will directly impact everybody. But yet, who's talking about it? Who's talking about food shortages? And we all eat. So why is this something that everybody is not talking about? Because again, this affects us all. This impacts us all. We all got to eat. So this is not something that's irrelevant. This is something that's connected to everybody, and yet a very small percentage of the population is actually talking about it. Something like this should be heavily discussed. We should be getting prepared. We should be discussing strategies. If this really pops off, if it really gets real in the field, what's the move? What's the plan? We're not talking about it. We're not strategizing. We're not plotting. We're not planning. We're not organizing. We're not preparing ourselves for this situation because we're more reactive instead of being proactive. We got to be proactive in a situation like this. You know, they was warning us about this years ago. That's why people was having survival kits. This is why people was racking up on canned goods. This is why this type of stuff was happening. But then what do we do? When they tell us that a pandemic is underway, then we want to go run to the stores and buy up everything. Or Y2K, then we want to go run to the stores and buy up everything. Panicking. They done been getting us hip to a food shortage for a long enough time to where we should all be prepared for it, mentally and physically. But what are we doing? Absolutely nothing. JF, Magic, Peace, what's happening? We doing absolutely nothing to prepare for it. So again, like I said, when it hits us, we all gonna act like we was caught off guard. When they was hitting us right in the face with it, we just chose to turn the other cheek to this information. Jasmine, Peace Queen, what's happening? And I find that this is a problem. It's a big problem. Because again, like I said, we do not discuss matters that directly impact us. We try to ignore these things. We can't ignore the beast. We can't ignore this wicked system because we are within it. We are within this wicked system. We are within the belly of the beast. We can't ignore it no matter how hard you try to ignore it. Guess what? You can't. I don't care how hard you try to ignore this system, you cannot, because we are directly impacted by this system as long as we are in the wilderness of North America. Nikki Peace, what's happening? Boom, Crypto Peace, what's happening? So I don't care how hard you try to ignore this. I don't care how hard you try to distract yourself from the realities of what's actually going on. There's nothing you can do about it. If a food shortage hits us, we got to deal with it. You can't ignore it. You can't ignore it. We got to deal with it. So what you going to do? That's why I've been trying to get people hip to fasting ever since I came across the information. We're going to have to get back to the mindset of our ancestors way back in the day. We're going to have to learn how to live for long periods of time without food. And that's a very complicated thing these days because we love to eat so much in the wilderness of North America. We love to eat. We love to consume food. Most people can't fathom going 24 hours without food. That is a problem. If we are facing a food shortage, you might have to be able to go 2 days without some food, 3 days without some food. And that's a possibility. You're not going to die if you go 3 days without food. But most people think that that's going to happen because we're not prepared. Red Lipstick Vibes, peace, what's happening? Walker, peace, what's the word? We're not prepared. That's one of the best things to practice to prepare yourself for something like a food shortage. And this is not something that's far-fetched. Y'all see the prices of food. You see how it's constantly increasing. See people talking about gas prices, but we've also, the food prices were increasing before the gas prices did. So this is something that's in full effect right now. So it's not far-fetched. It's happening. When you see the prices of the food increase, that's letting you know what's happening. That's letting you know scarcity. That's what causes something to increase. When there's a demand for something, but it's not much, the supply is not as high. We got to raise the price. That's what's happening. That's why you see food prices, the everyday food items. That's why you see those prices increase. That's economics. Real simple. And whether they lying or not, reality of it is, if they tell us it's a food shortage, whether that's true or not, then guess what? It's going to be a food shortage. If we know good and well that there should be enough food to last us a lifetime, it don't matter if they telling us it's a food shortage. If they not allowing us to have access to the food, if they telling us that we can't grow our own food, and they can create these rules and regulations. Just like they can tell you that you cannot collect the rainwater in Utah. So they can definitely create rules and regulations that hinder us from prospering during the food shortage. So what are we going to do if that happens? See, these are things that we got to talk about. We got to discuss. We got to think about. This is very important. This is very important because, again, we still dealing with a wicked system and we still dealing with the beast, whether we want to admit it or not, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. That's the reality of the situation. Jasmine, that mass hysteria. And that's how they get us. Everybody going to be in a frenzy, sort of like 9/11 and things like that. And that's when they create these rules and regulations that take away some of our so-called freedoms. 9/11, that's how they did us. Patriot Acts and things like that, man. They created a lot of laws, rules, and regulations right after 9/11. And a lot of those rules and regulations took away some of our freedoms. But since they had us in a state of panic, a state of mass hysteria, it was okay. We didn't trip off of these rules and regulations because they was able to make it seem like they made these rules and regulations to protect us from terrorists, when in reality, they orchestrated the terrorist attacks. They had something to do. They trained these individuals. You know what I'm saying? The United States, the corporation, the United States of America trained these terrorists and had us thinking that the enemy was overseas. See, this is what they do. They're going to talk about a food shortage and they're going to be like, oh, it's the Ukraine and it's the Russia situation. When in reality, they are going to be the actual cause of it. They are going to know about it, or they going to have something to do with it, a major role in it. But they going to make us place the blame elsewhere. So they already getting started on that part. Oh, the war between Russia and Ukraine is going to cause a food shortage. Right. Not how they are damaging the planet and things like that. They're going to blame it all on this war. Like they have no role in this so-called food shortage. To be real with you, to be real with everybody, we have been in the food shortage. And I say it in this type of sense. Most of the food that we consume is trash. So most of what we eating doesn't even provide nutritional value. Most of what we eat, even some of the fruits and vegetables, have been stripped of their nutritional value. So most of the food that we eat has been tampered with, is genetically modified. So if you want to ask me, we've been in the food shortage ever since they started tampering with the food. Because we're not eating real food for the most part. When we buying the food from these stores, it's not real. It's trash. Genetically modified is tampered with. So it's been a shortage on real food for a very long time, ever since I've been born and before that, if we being completely honest. So now there might be a shortage on the genetically modified dangerous food. But it's been a shortage on real food. Hence why the population is so sick. Justin, at all, we're not going to be able to run it all. Realistic for sure. They don't pay attention. They don't pay attention to what is important. We don't pay attention to what's important, and that's been our problem. When you try to have these type of conversations with the everyday average person, they don't want to have this conversation because they view it as something that's negative and pessimistic, but it's not. It's reality. The truth, reality, whatever you want to refer to it as, doesn't care about pessimism and optimism and things like that. It doesn't care about those things. It doesn't care about positive, negative. It doesn't care about good or bad. The truth and reality, they are just that. The truth and reality. It's just that simple. They don't care about those labels. So we got to deal with reality, whether it's pretty or not. Because at the end of the day, we got to deal with it. Just imagine our ancestors back in the day. They couldn't ignore these white folks. They had to deal with their reality. They had to deal with the reality. They was out here enslaved. Like they had to deal with their reality on a day-to-day basis. No matter how hard they tried to ignore it, they had to go out and deal with these white folks and be enslaved every day. Imagine that. That was the reality of the situation. They could have lost themselves in their thoughts all day long, but at the end of the day, guess what they had to go physically do? They had to go out in them fields. They had to be the house Negro. They had to do these things. No matter how hard they tried to distract themselves, at the end of the day, they had to still deal with that aspect of reality. And that's what we don't realize a lot. There are certain portions of reality within the wilderness of North America that we must deal with, no matter how hard we try to run away from the subject matter. So we got to stop being afraid to face certain things because, again, us facing these problems will help us solve them. But like I said, we would rather be reactive instead of proactive. And the problem there is, like, collectively, if we were more proactive, things would be a lot better for us as a people. King Ramsey, peace. What's happening? K-Spirit for sure. Gasoline, food, all of it. It's all high, It's all high. Realistic for sure. They want us to depend on that for everything. So at the end of the day, like I said, they could be lying about the food shortage. But at the end of the day, if they sell us the story, we gonna believe it. If they tell us it's a food shortage, we will believe it. At the end of the day, whatever they tell us, we believe it to be true. David, you say y'all eat once a day for sure, and that's what we're gonna have to start. Elijah Muhammad gave the blueprint How to Eat to Live, volumes 1 and 2, he said you start off by eating 1 meal a day and then 1 meal every other day. See, this is how you survive during times like this. This is how you prepare yourself to survive a food shortage. 1 meal a day. Then you learn how to thrive on 1 meal a day. I mean, 1 meal every other day. But again, we are in a society where we eat way too much. And the crazy thing is, we eat too much, but we still malnourished. We overfed and malnourished because we eating a bunch of empty calories. Hence why I said the food shortage has been here. MC for sure. As you all have seen, I don't even, you know what I'm saying? I don't care about the Will Smith situation at all. You just don't even, I literally do not care at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I didn't even mention it until then, like until now. I don't really care about it. Because like I said, we got other important issues at hand that must be discussed. And somebody got to discuss them. You know what I'm saying? Best believe white folks out here discussing these food. They seeing these articles about food shortages. It'd be us that don't be wanting to have these conversations for the most part. We get lost in all the other nonsense. So somebody has to come with the information. Somebody has to come with the discussion. Yeah, this is not popular. Yeah, this is not trending, but it's important. And that's how I view it, man. We got to talk about what's important, not what's trending and popular. I got to talk about what's important. And this is important. CEO Peace, what's happening? Boom, like I said, Boom Crypto, man. I've been back in the day, about 10 years ago, I started the survival kit, you know? Get them canned goods, get things that will last some years, things like that. You know, it's not the healthiest stuff to eat now, you know what I'm saying? But hey, if it's a food shortage and we got to be out here surviving and thriving, it will be healthier then. At that point. Justin, for sure, realistic. Yep, that's what I'm saying. That's what they do. The United States of America, the corporation, they always want to create a boogeyman to take the attention and focus off of them. That's what they want to do. They want to do it every time. Create a boogeyman. Boom Crypto for sure. TZ Peace, what's happening? King Ramses for sure. War equals big time profit. They make a lot of money off of war. Shantae Peace Queen, what's happening? Boom Crypto, yeah, Monsanto with the Terminator seeds. You know what I'm saying? Look into that. Justin, for sure. And like I said, that they're gonna sell it. They're gonna sell us that type of story. And like I said, most of us, we're gonna eat it up. We're gonna eat it up. We don't think the United States is responsible for anything. We don't think the corporation is responsible for anything. So we're gonna eat whatever they tell us up. Oh, okay. Ukraine and Russia, it's their fault. So that's who everybody gonna blame. Gonna blame Ukrainians. We're gonna blame the Russians. That's what we're gonna do. Just like when it was 9/11, we just blamed all the people all the Muslims. Straight had people looking at Muslims sideways. Like, come on now. That was a whole that situation was entirely funny to me. If you just study any ounce of history during 9/11, you will understand why I found that funny. When the planes knocked down the World Trade Center, and people was like, blaming the Muslims, looking at the Muslims like they this, that, and the third. When you'd have had all of these crusades and holy wars that Christians have partaken in, I was like, that's hilarious. Like 9/11 was hilarious when everybody that claimed to be a Christian, Catholic, Baptist, whatever, was looking at Muslims funny because of that situation. When I can guarantee you that more people have been killed under Christianity, Catholicism, and all of that. But we was you know what I'm saying, as a corporation, not a country, we were looking at Muslims like these people are wicked, these people are evil. We don't trust them. I don't trust Christians and Catholics just the same. That was funny. Red lipstick. There you go. Gotta train them. Gotta train them. Or Neil, you say we should really all be landowners, have our own property, and try to grow and make most of our food for sure. You know, and that's the objective, man, to get that land, because that's going to become very important over the next few years. Very important. Very important. It's going to be very important. That land ownership is everything, man. And we gonna need that collectively. Collectively. Jawan, peace. What's happening? Zoomer generation. That's what they say. Definitely the potato and wheat for the most part. You know. But that's going to lead to the increase of prices of everything else, man. It's a few articles that I would bring up, but I ain't got the time. But that talks about the domino effect from the whole war between Russia and Ukraine in regards to food, mainly being like, I think they said Russia and Ukraine are responsible for like 30% of the wheat production and things like that, and how other countries will have to help in or step in and help with supplying wheat to other countries, and how that can cause the prices of everything to start going up, which that's already happened. So they got to give us their little story. You know, they got to give us a story. They got to justify, rationalize their plan. But see, they already had planned this. So they had a role in creating this whole situation. And they using the war as a semi-distraction or as the scapegoat for something that they wanted to do regardless. Walker, for sure. For sure. You know, and like I said, that's why I don't get caught up in a lot of the nonsense, man. At the end of the day, like, if that's what you do, if you talk about what's popular and what's trending, and if it's relevant to what you are on your platform, got no problem with it. But I just, you know what I'm saying, that stuff ain't me. You know, at the end of the day. And I'm not placing myself on a pedestal. You know, I'm just saying, I literally do not care about some of this stuff that people be talking about. Like, I seriously do not care. If I cared about it, I would talk about it. You know, and that's literally how I feel. Like, I just don't care enough about what people are mainly talking about these days. A nice peace. What's happening? Soulfully Royal Nita, peace. You already know. Khalil, peace. What's happening? Yeah, the corruption. It's wicked out here. It's big wicked out here. You know, and what we doing? What we doing to combat the corruption? We do absolutely nothing. But focus on the wrong things, and then view people that focus on the corruption in a negative light. Like I said, 10 years ago, I used to be heavy into this type of information. And all the time, every time, never fail. When I would talk about what's actually happening, opposed to what people wanted me to talk about or what was trending, I got caught the same things, man. You negative. You pessimistic, this, that, and the third. Simply because I was keeping it real by focusing on and talking about what was actually happening. So it never fails, man. When you start talking about the corruption, people want to label you as negative or pessimistic. Things like that. It's hard for us to move forward as a people when we view the truth or reality as negative. We have got to stop doing that. Like, we've literally got to stop doing that. And that's all that we do. So it's like I said. But then, and what's funny about that, this is what's funny about what I just said. I would talk about something like a food shortage. What's going on? Like, what's really going on out here and how it directly impacts us. and somebody would call me pessimistic and they would call me negative. But then we gonna talk about a man going up on stage slapping another man. What is that? If me talking about food shortages and how that directly impacts the people, if that's negative, then what are we when we sitting around talking about a man getting up on stage slapping another man? Is that positive? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't necessarily think that's a positive and progressive topic. I don't feel like that will help us progress as a people if we sit around discussing that opposed to a food shortage that will directly impact us. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm tripping. But I don't think what people tend to talk about when it comes to trends is necessarily positive. But when we talk about what's actually going on, is somehow negative at that point. Mistake me, you know what I'm saying? Let me know if I'm mistaken. But I don't think trending topics really be that positive. Or am I just tripping? Somebody let me know. But I don't come across much positive or many positive trending topics. But like I said, I could be tripping. Most of the trending topics that I come across, they be drama-filled, toxic, and a bunch of BS. But I could be, like I said, I could be tripping. But somehow, when you talk about what's actually happening, the corruption, now all of a sudden you negative. Which is very interesting. That's very interesting. But I used to get labeled that all the time. Still get labeled that. Still get labeled that, but it's all good. Because again, like I said, we're gonna deal with the actual facts and the reality of a situation. You know, so it is what it is. It is what it is, man. The reality ain't sweet all the time. Reality ain't positive all the time. There are certain aspects of reality that are positive. There are certain parts of reality that's not necessarily positive. That's real negative. But we got to deal with it. Can't run from it. Like gas prices. Gas prices going up. You gonna not get gas? You know what I'm saying? So like you have got to deal with that. That's not necessarily a positive. So like what you gonna do? You just gonna stop getting gas because gas prices going up. You gonna sit around and complain about gas prices and you just gonna not get gas? No. If the gas prices increase, guess what? You gotta adapt and adjust. This is something that you have to deal with. No matter how hard you try to ignore gas prices going up, guess what? You're gonna have to drive to work. You're gonna have to get gas. Same with the food shortage. So why not discuss it? Why not discuss why this is actually happening and what we can do about it? Supreme Law, Peace G, what's happening? Oh, boom, crypto for sure. You know, that's what we gonna talk about, the real. And I'm actually kind of mind blown. I'm mind blown in regards to some of the people that I actually seen talk about the whole situation. For one, I'm not here to condone. Like, I don't want to talk about another brother smacking another brother, man. I just don't want to do that. See, that's the type. First of all, and I'm gonna briefly mention this part in reference to that. First of all, I believe a lot of this stuff is staged when we talking about Hollywood. I don't care about a war show. I didn't even know it wasn't a war show on until I saw it on Facebook. People talking about it. I don't care anything about no Oscar, no Grammy, no none of that. And I haven't tapped into that stuff in 12 to 15 years. I ain't even tap into it when I was part of this, you know what I'm saying? Part of this matrix. So I don't care about any of that stuff. And a lot of this stuff is scripted. Big time. A lot of it is scripted big time. So I don't even involve myself in it. They want us to be portrayed in a certain light. So I'm not gonna feed them. I'm not gonna give them what they want. I'm not gonna give them what they want, man. I'm not gonna do that. Let's talk about their wickedness. You know, that's what we gonna do. We gonna talk about their wickedness. You know what I'm saying? That's what we gonna do. Like they love for us to be viewed in that light, so they can talk bad about it and sit back and laugh at us and things like that. So they love it. You know what I'm saying? So, nah. We're gonna talk about what they on. We're gonna talk about what your boy Joe Biden is on. Everybody's favorite. You know what I'm saying? They couldn't wait to get the boogeyman out of there and place Joe in there. And what is Joe doing? I don't feel like the world has improved ever since old Joe got selected. But everybody was so happy. Like their worlds are about to drastically improve. I don't feel like life has drastically improved ever since Joe was selected. Again, I could be tripping. Maybe your life has gotten better since old Joe got in there. Maybe it has. But I haven't noticed. I haven't noticed any drastic improvements. $504 for sure. You already know. You already know. Boom. Yeah. Exactly. You know, so I don't feed into it. I don't feed into it at all, man. I don't believe none of what you hear and half of what you see. That's the quote. Believe none of what you hear and half of what you see. So I believe half of what I saw. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Life is same old, same old. The way you would have thought black people was about to receive the 40 acres and a mule the way they celebrated when Joe got selected. I mean, literally, you would have thought reparations was about to be received by all black people the way we celebrated. The way we celebrated when they selected Joe, man, I swear to you, you would have thought we would have woke up the next day or a week from that date with $1 million or $1 billion in our bank accounts. That's how happy people were. And all I've seen is a bunch of nonsense go down. But ain't nobody talking about it. We don't want to discuss it. Ms. Donnie, you said the amount of people that are so hyped about Riri being pregnant will move mountains if they were focused on changing the world for sure. You would have thought, I didn't know Rihanna has so many family members out here, boy. The whole, like, you know what I'm saying? People more excited about that pregnancy than people in their own fam. But again, that's the world we live in. That's the world we live in. Hey, Royal Nita for sure. You know what I'm saying? I already knew it. Like I said, I was one of the ones, and even back then, because I remember when Obama got selected, I was one of the few blacks that didn't care for that one. Again, I don't care for any president, you know, but I definitely don't care for the ones that are used to pacify us and calm us down. And that's what Joe is, and that's what Obama was. And it worked. Black Mesa for sure. You say we have millions for Ukraine relief, instant homes, but nothing for us. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. You know what I'm saying? We got stuff. You got people. Listen, I got people out here. You got black people out here having sympathy for the Ukrainians. And I'm like, man, these Ukrainians, these people don't care nothing about black folks. Come on, man. Like, let's be real. It's been a war on black folks in America since we've been here. And who cared? What country cared about us? But we care about all these other countries. It had been a war on black people in the wilderness of North America since we were placed here against our will. The ones that were placed here against our will. Now, again, we traveled the globe and we touched every piece of land before they did. But I'm talking about enslavement, when our ancestors was forced here against our will in terms of them being enslaved. That's what I'm referring to. What country cared about us? What country was like, wow, look at how they are doing these black people in America, or these Africans, whatever you want to refer to them as. We need to go do something. No. Stop playing with us, man. We have sympathy for everybody else, but nobody seems to have sympathy for us. Nobody. But we out here always having sympathy for other people, man. That, you know, and like I said studying history, that's our biggest weakness, man. We too loving as a people, we too kind as a people. And that has got us in a lot of trouble. We gotta stop doing that. We gotta stop being that way. Oh, Shantae, man, when Trump was in office, everybody was political. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was political. Everybody was hip then. They was studying every policy. They was watching the news. They was watching C-SPAN. They was on CNN, on YouTube. They watching everything. They knew everything that was happening. They knew everything that was happening. It was crazy because they needed to blame Trump for everything. So they were studying everything that was going on under the Trump administration. They knew everything he tweeted, everything he posted on Instagram. They knew everything. Anais, 100% right and exact. Kingra, for sure. And that's that self-hatred. But Malcolm X posed the greatest question of all time. Who taught you how to hate yourself? Who taught you how to hate yourself, black man? Who taught you how to hate yourself, black woman? Who taught you that? Matter of fact, shout out to Sister Soldier. I'm currently halfway through her book. You know, no disrespect, but shout out to Sister Soldier. You know, she went hard for the people in the beginning of her career and whatnot. But shout out to Sister Soldier, man. But yeah, Malcolm X posed a great question, man. Who taught you how to hate yourself? Who taught us that? That was learned behavior. That's not our natural way of living. It's learned behavior. We had to get integrated in a system that taught us that. We're not just going to grow up and hate ourselves. It's not what we're going to do. That's not natural for a large portion of a people, a large percentage of a people to just hate themselves. It's not normal. That's not natural. That is taught. You know, that's taught. That's taught through corruption, force, coercion, manipulation, things like that. That's how that's taught. So this is not our natural way of viewing life. This is not our natural way of viewing ourselves. Yet that's where we at, though. That's where we at. Shantae, for sure. For sure, 100%. I never forget, because I remember it clear as day, because it's right when I was coming across this information when Obama was selected. Man, I remember the state of black people. I remember every conversation I had. Like 95% of the conversations I had, people was like, man, I don't really care about all that. I'm just happy to see a black man as a president. That was literally all that people were happy about. Like being a president of this corporation is a badge of honor. Like being a mascot of a wicked corporation is a badge of honor. They were saying things like, see, now I can tell my kids they can be anything they want to be, including the president of the United States. Why would you want to tell a black kid? For you to encourage a black child to be the president of the United States, you are encouraging a black child to not value their lives nor their people. Because if you're going to be the president of the United States of America, then you can't do anything for black people, because if you try to do it, you will get assassinated. So why would I encourage a black child to aspire to be that? They're not going to be able to do anything for their people. They're not going to be able to do anything for you. They're not going to be able to do anything for me. And if they do, they assassinated. They're not going to last long. So I don't think I would tell a black child to aspire to be that. And that's just a fact. That's just a fact. You do anything to help the people at large, man, look what happens to you. It's a price on your head. So when people was walking around saying that, I was like, wow, this is interesting. And see, this when everything was new to me. So I wasn't really understanding. I'm like, man, wow, these people can't be the mindset of people these days. It can't be. But yet it was. And it still is to this day. And that's what we dealing with. And that's what we have to deal with every 4 years. And that's what we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And it's sick, man. So we gotta do better as a people. We got to do better as a people 100%, man. We got to stay on top of what's going on. We got to stay conscious. Basically, it's just aware. Consciousness is awareness. That's it. That's all it is, man. It's awareness. We got to stay aware of what's really important. I'm not telling you you can't have conversations about things that are considered gossip, man. But at the end of the day, you also got to be just as hip to what's going on. Balance. So just like you hip to what's trending, be hip to what's not trending, yet directly affecting you. That's important, man. Life is about balance, and we don't deal with the balance, man. We so one-sided, one-dimensional. Deal with balance, deal with the equality. All right, I'm hip to what's trending, but then I'm also hip to what's not trending, yet very important. Black Mason, my brother, appreciate the donation. You say news put out black volunteers should for Ukraine should be ready to be called a ninja because they aren't USUs. Only know us from television. I wish yeah, man. They only know us from television, man. Again, they don't know much about us and don't care much about us. But yet we be having sympathy and we care all about them. But yeah, man, all I ask is for people to deal with balance, man. If you're gonna talk about what's happening that could essentially be irrelevant, make sure you're able to hold conversations about what's relevant as well. That's all we ask of people. I could talk about the Will Smith situation. I could talk about it. I could add decent insight to it, but I can also talk about this food shortage. And again, that's balance. That's balance, man. That's being able, that's being diverse, being versatile, things like that. But that's what's lacking. People do not do that. Because again, what's not trending and very important is not necessarily juicy. I mean, it really is, but to the everyday average black person, is not. To me, talking about a food shortage is juicy information. That's very interesting information for me. You know, so again, it's all relative. But to the everyday average person, they not finding that type of information very juicy. They don't want to hear about that. They don't want to hear about a potential food shortage. It's like too dark and depressing. But I'm cool with it because again, keeps me on my toes. It allows me to study. Let me get more into fasting. Let me learn more about how to grow food. Let me see what I need to do to get some land. Like that's where your mind should go, not to an automatic state of depression, sadness. Like, oh man, this is sad. No, your mind should be like, all right, man, we might face a food shortage. How do I solve it? How do we solve this? How do we get through it? But that's not where our mind tends to travel. Hey, Jasmine, hey, I appreciate you tapping in. I appreciate everybody tapping in. Because like I said, man, at the end of the day, you know, I know what people want to hear, but I don't got time to talk about it. So I appreciate y'all tapping in, man, because hey, this is some strength for y'all to be tapped into something that's not, man, because all I've been seeing on Facebook and YouTube is people talking about the Will Smith situation. That's all I've been seeing, man, literally. I mean, people I wouldn't even expect to be talking about it are talking about it. I'm like, wow. I'm like, man, I didn't even think like the people that I'm seeing talk about, I swear to you, I would never have thought that they would have cared enough about the stuff to talk about it. So I'm like, yep, that's it. It's the world we live in now. Dominique, peace. What's happening? Hey, I've been AWOL too, my brother. I ain't did a stream in like 6 days, man. So I've been AWOL too, man. I've been focusing, to be honest with you, I've been focusing on studying, man, just reading. I'm trying to get these books done, man. I'm trying to get these books read, and I'm trying to get these books written. You know, if y'all not hip, man, I'm trying to master the art of writing these books, man, putting out not only information, but I'm focusing on fictional writing, telling stories from the black perspective, man. I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying? I feel like we need more stories because again, I'm gonna meet people where they at. We like to be entertained. So what better way for me to reach people than to give them that? You know, these gonna be stories that obviously won't make it to Hollywood, but who wants to make it to Hollywood? We can create our own version of that. So I'm striving to just fill my mind with as much information as I can and utilize this information to create very powerful stories, controlling the narratives, because that's who we are by nature, man. We are storytelling people, you know. So I'm trying to I'm trying to activate that within myself, but still give y'all the information as well too. So we gonna balance it out and give y'all that information, but then I'm also give y'all some of these stories too. So that's a new realm that I'm tapping into. Antonio, for sure. Like I said, I got some powerful input and insight in regards to that, in regards to what happened. Very powerful. Because I honestly just had a conversation about it, you know, off camera in regards to what happened. I had a conversation about it, about basically Will Smith's reaction, you know. So I had a conversation about something along those lines, man, and it was very relevant to it. But it's like, nah, I ain't gonna get on here. I will have these discussions offline, you know. You know, so at the end of the day, it's like, yep. So we can talk about anything, but I'm not today. I ain't doing it. Yeah, that cool pose, yeah, man. I'm telling you, that book was right. Book was right on time for me. It's like I read the book and then boom, relevant. God is Peace Queen, what's happening? Big Smooth Peace, what's the word? Montel, you already know. We never deviate from the message, from the purpose. Never do that. Never deviate from your purpose, man. Never deviate from your purpose, man. If you got a purpose, stay on course. Stay on it. No matter if it's popular or not. At the end of the day, the success will come to you. It will come to you, man. So don't deviate from that purpose. But y'all, man, I gotta tap out, man. I gotta make a move. I gotta head to this gym. I got a few more sessions to close out this day, man. So like I said, I had about 40, 45 minutes, went a little bit over, but it's all good, man. This was a powerful build, as always, but it's not necessarily popular. So y'all know how that goes. So not many people gonna tap into this one because it's not talking about the juicy situation that went on. But hey, it is what it is. People gonna appreciate this later down the line, probably when it's too late to appreciate it. But hey, it's all good though. You can't say that I didn't talk about it. Can't say that I wasn't talking about what's really important, because here it is. Here's proof that people overlook the real for the drama. Here's the proof right here. We got the proof. You know, we got proof. But hey, I appreciate y'all tapping in, man. I appreciate donations. I appreciate all the comments, all that good stuff, man. It's always peaceful vibes. If you missed this joint, rewind it, tap back in from the beginning, and pick up on the jewels. You know, if you catch any jewels, it is what it is. If you don't, my bad. But hey, hopefully you gain some insight from this discussion, man, and do some research. Don't take what I said off face value. Research this on your own and reach your own conclusion. But I'm out, y'all, man. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all Monday. I'm gonna try to tap back in with y'all tomorrow because I got some motivational stuff that I actually wanted to say, but I need to touch on this first. You know, so I'm gonna definitely try to tap in with y'all tomorrow. But if not tomorrow, for sure Wednesday. But I'm out, man. Y'all be easy. Enjoy the rest of this Monday. Peace.